I told everybody we did a Saturday video on the way down to the ballpark, and you're not going to get many days like today. Behind us warming up right now is Ollie's team. 2 games today, 12-3 you said? 12-3 today. We get the Hambletonian on today. It's a beautiful day to begin with, and not going to get many days like this. Unfortunately, it's just the reality of it. So, the last 2 weeks have been pretty flat. The horses have been flat. We had some sickness. We had some horses that were tied up. We had a couple that pled. All in all, just a very kind of lackluster, and that's being nice, a lackluster 2 weeks at the barn. And it certainly turned around last week. I was thoroughly pleased with the way the horses raced in Kentucky, the way that things looked in Ohio. Obviously, it was so nice to get back going forward with Uncle Danny and Supermind, horses that had really struggled the last 2 weeks. And, to see them bounce back and look the way they did was impressive. Judy's Money continued to push forward in just the most impressive way. And she might have been third, but you're asking a horse that was an okay horse that now has pushed forward through winning both her Buckeye events and now winning and now finishing third in the Ohio State Fair race. It was just a great week all along. We'll run through the week really quick. I started, obviously, I had said last week, you think things are bad, but they can always be worse. And I found out the hard way last Saturday, hit the track pretty hard. And I was sore. Amy can tell you my left butt cheek is completely black and blue. My tailbone is bruised, but I'm glad I landed that way, because if I had landed right on my tailbone, it might have done quite a bit more damage. And, as much as it was uncomfortable to soar to race this week, it would have been impossible had I not landed the way I did. So very lucky in that regard. Yes, I was sore, but I was able to muscle through it. And I'd said to one of our clients the other day, we were talking about me driving, what horses I drive, how I choose to drive those horses. And I booked off Patrick the Piranha because it was clear to me that I was going to be a detriment to Patrick the Piranha's race last Saturday. That was pretty obvious. I was sore, and it was fresh. It was more my tailbone, and it made no sense for me to drive Patrick. But when it came to the horses Sunday night, I did everything I could to get back. And I know it bothered you that I drove all the way home just to watch Ollie play, to drive all the way back in Ohio to drive a couple of overnight horses. When you look at the big picture of things, is it really that important to drive overnight horses? No, it's not. But when they're Gaslight Hall, who we're trying to get back on track and moving forward for the grassroots, he is coming back home next week. It is important to have him put in a good effort, and I thought I could help do that. Foxy Seaside was coming off a couple of poor performances, and I just wanted to get a look under the hood, if nothing else, myself, and see, hey, what's going on with this filly? And both of those horses raced very, very well last Sunday, so that made it all the more easier, for me to justify it. But then waking up on Monday was a little more tricky. It was a little stiff, but not too bad. Not too bad. I got to talk to Scott quickly about Perfect Thought first part of the week and Solidarity, how he raced. I was happy with them. And now, as I told you, Foxy Seaside I thought was going to give me fits. She did not. She was completely polite. And then Hanger One, I had no idea what was going to go on. Ava, can you turn that ridiculous amount of air off back there? And with Hanger One, I just really didn't know what I'd be in store for. And actually, as far as Hanger One goes, he was super polite also. Behaved himself, 26-4 on the end of it, finishing second, and looked very good. We talked all week about pessimism and optimism. You're more of a pessimistic person. I'm more of an optimistic person. And it was on display when somebody said, yeah, he was second. Yeah, it was a good last quarter, but, it was the Wildcat. Yeah, it was the Wildcat. Do me a favor. Just search up exactly how much those horses cost that were in the Wildcat, that were in the bottom division.
Every horse needs a start.
But it's not just the start. It's that everybody judges and says, well, here, I'll give you the reality. Hanger One was a $35,000 yearling that raced against horses that cost more than him in some regard. The class above it had, the horse that beat Degas, that won that race, was $925,000. That was Ramona Hill's daughter.
Oh, was it?
That's the one that won Degas' race. right?
I think that's the problem with buying siblings of nice horses.
What?
The expectation is...
Well, no, the expectation came from her mother. That was the first foal from Ramona Hill.
No, I'm talking about Hanger 1.
Hanger 1 is a nice colt. I mean, for anybody to look at it, if you take away his brother who's racing the Hamiltonian today, right? If you take that away, he's a really good-looking colt that trotted his first race in 58, 26-4 on the end of it.
That was my point.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I thought, what do you mean that was your point? What was your point?
That was my point in saying that when you buy a sibling to something that raced really well, and then they go out, that horse didn't race bad, but
what?
There's an expectation.
Hey, no, he's a $35,000 colt.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter what people think and say, well, he's Go Dog Go's brother. Who cares? Muhammad Ali's brother washed dishes in Chicago. At least that's what my father said when he used that analogy when I was young. I have no idea if that's factually correct or not. No idea.
Sure you can Google it.
I don't want to. So the Monday went great. Steady Volo was good. You know, we mixed expectations. I know when he was in Ontario, those lines weren't great. I'm not a big fan of the 2-4 qualifiers at Mohawk anyway. It drives me crazy. But, you know, I qualified him in 59 at the Meadows. I liked him. But what he did the other day, I had to watch him in the first turn. He was bumpy. He was at his outside knee. But down the lane, when he flattened out, now he did drop his knee boot. But down the lane, when he flattened out, he did his work very, very well. I was really happy with both Steady Volo and Hanger 1. Then I got to watch the races. Greatest ending pace is 53. Somebody said, well, I thought he was coming to Ontario. He was, but I was with the concern was getting the truck here in a timely fashion where we could let Greatest Ending relax. You know, we tiptoe around him because he is a bit of a prima donna, right? He ties up easy. His feet, you know, he blows quarter cracks and pus pockets out of the feet. And, you know, I think one feeds off the other. But we just thought, you know what, if we're bringing him to Ontario, let's do it right. And he's going to race next week. Chicago Hall raced great also, finished up right on top of everybody in behind them. You know, for the race itself bothered me because they put 2 gold horses in with 8 grassroots horses rather than finding 2 more grassroots horses and having the gold horses go up into the non-winners of 5. I know they didn't belong there because they fit a non-winners of 2 class, but the class that we entered in anyway was a horses that raced in the grassroots race, not
both.
But not both. JK Victory, first time I've seen him actually look aggressive and passing horses down the lane the other night. It's the first time I ever saw him do it. He was 7th coming out of the turn and was a charging 3rd at the wire. He looked very, very good. And Neptune, I asked Chris about him the other day. He said, no, he raced good. I like that horse. One foot's bothering him a little bit. He's another sore-footed bugger. Sometimes he gets quarter cracks easy. And they were saying that the one foot was a little warmer than the other. So we'll see how that plays out into this week. Woodmere Bullet was 2nd. I think he was placed back. He made a break going into the first turn. A little skip, and they said he interfered with somebody. And Delicious Stone DK, 3rd. We're just used to him winning every week, and he was 3rd this week. He looked okay. Looked a little choppy, to be honest. I wonder if his feet are bothering him again. And then we fast forward to Wednesday of this week. The first of the part of the day was extremely disappointing. That was the day I dented the left corner bumper of my car. That bothers me, and it bothers me to now. There's a room in my head that is filled with somebody saying, hey, what about that bumper? What about that?
Oh, is there a room in your head that says, like, what about not
hitting
things
no,
with cars?
It wasn't that I didn't care. I was in a rush. I did not see and it's like they built it. They're like, you know, one of these days we're gonna get somebody's bumper, and we're all gonna laugh when they leave. It's all gonna be funny. It's like the bumper was that hot. The what do you got? The curb that they built, and it looks nice. It's beautiful, but it's just low enough that I could not see it, and just high enough to chew up the left front portion of the bumper. I was literally beside myself. The voice in my head said, oh, well, I guess that's that. Just light it on fire and leave. I was beside myself. And then, I get to watch the races. Pretty Eyes and Lies makes a break leaving. And Rock Shining Star shuts his air off. Don't Ask Again. She ended up 7th and then showed a little blood also. So the day did not start great. I got to the Red Mile myself. Degas. I was in with James. And am I keeping you from something, Mrs. McDonald? No. Okay. I was in with James, and obviously I want to beat James, right, for numerous reasons. One, I want to beat him with our filly. Two, I want to beat him because I want to beat him. I never get to beat him very often. And halfway down the lane, that filly was by me. And Degas fought back on to go back past her. And they'd called me because they're really strict with the whip down there. You're not allowed the full swings, right? And I know that, but I thought I picked at her, and I went, I can't let James beat me. And I give her a swat, and the judge called me. And he said, no full swings in Kentucky. I said, I apologize. He said, I knew that when I hit him. I said, but I wasn't sure what the fine would be if I climbed up on the horse's back and bit her in the ear. So I opted for the full swing. And he laughed. And he said, you can't do either. And just be careful with the full swings. So he was nice enough to give me a warning. And then Jolene Hall raced great. We're going to take the flip-flops off her. I was torn because she could come back to Kentucky and race for 20, or we could drop her down into the 15,000 class in Kentucky. I'd like to give her one more start there. She just got acclimated. It's totally different racing than she's used to in training at Northfield. She stretches out. I'd like to take the flip-flops off her, change her boots. And the thing is with her, all things being equal, Judy's money is going to be in the grassroots final. Tomboy Strong's moving down into the grassroots also, so she'll either fit the final or the consolation, right? That leaves, I don't want to have horses just racing against each other, because I believe Jolene Hall in the 15,000 class, I think she'll trot in 55, no problem. And I think she'll be one of the best. And we're moving Degas down there too, so I don't really know where that fits in what we're doing. But I do think this is a quality filly. So I'm going to give it one more start. I don't think we're right up against it where you have to make a decision right now. I think we have time. I'm going to give her the one more start. The one problem is also the next Buckeye, the third or fourth Buckeye in Ohio is Jug Week, which is the day after the finals in Kentucky. Yeah, so it's problematic in that regard. What do we got here? And Jailbird Jog raced great, just not the greatest trip. I think now that Timmy knows her and knows what he can and can't do with her, I think he'd be much more suited for Jailbird Jog. I mean, he was just trying to keep her out of trouble. I know what he was doing. He did the right thing, letting her float to the front. It was just frustrating, you have the 8-hole, you're parked to the half, and then you don't get out until late. I think at any point, if he gets a true run at the leaders, I don't think he can win, but he was second or third, and I do think he can beat that field if given the opportunity. Then we saw Resolve Indeed. I was so frustrated. The mile goes in 54. When was the last time you saw the non-winners of 2 going 54 at Northfield? Wow. Never. So she's back in with a little more softer crew. I don't know where that came from the other day. She's actually in with Gymboree. Tyler's going to drive Gymboree, and I'll drive Resolve Indeed this weekend. Next week, I guess, on Wednesday. NASA, I told him just to give him 10 days in the field. He just looks blah, right? He's trotting nice. His blood works so-so, but he just looks flat. And another horse that we need to be good all fall and all winter. Yes, I bought him to be good right now, but there's lots more there, and it's the same old thing. He only fits those classes for the wins and money, right? Once he makes that money, or once he wins those races, he's no longer eligible. And then we had I think a breakthrough moment in a flat 2 or 3 weeks was Thursday. Now, Kentucky, the horses went good. I was happy, but obviously we've been touting our Ohio horses from day one, right? We had some quality fillies. We had some quality trotting colts. We had a pacer. We had a pacing filly and colt that both looked good. We had a good boat in Ohio, and it just seemed like it was sinking the last 2 weeks. And it's frustrating to me. I can preach to you guys about, when they're sick, they need time, they need this. But at some point, the leaf has to turn over, right? We have to push forward. And I just didn't know when it would be. Well, it was Thursday. Uncle Danny, yes, we were fortunate, but Uncle Danny being Uncle Danny put himself in a position to be fortunate. I was able to force the issue going into the first turn, put one of the horses on the run. The horse that ended up on the front end got tuckered out, got pacey, and made a break also. But Danny capitalized from those mistakes. And that's horse racing. It isn't always just the fastest horse that wins. And I keep telling you guys, that's why we train the way we train. You laugh about nose to helmet. You laugh about these things. this is why.
I mean, I laugh.
Well, you don't really
How
buy
nose
into
to
it. You
helmet
don't
work
like.
out for you in the
I'll tell you what.
Meadows?
If it wasn't for nose to helmet, I could have been dumped out a lot worse than I was. And if it wasn't that I was nose to helmet, it was that Ronnie tried to get out around us and hook my wheel and dump me out. That's what happened.
Ran over Yannick.
And I was going to continue.
You had no room.
I was going to continue to run over Yannick. You never have room when a horse does that, ever. You have room to get your horse around. You never have room to get your bike around. I told Yannick, I said, if I don't get dumped out, who knows? They might have had to call the ambulance out to haul your head out of the horse's butt in front of you, because I wasn't moving. I was fine where I was. The problem is that Ronnie tried to get out behind, like you just said, and ended up dumping me to the track, right? And if it didn't work out that way, if it was even on, and I'm happy it worked out that way, because God forbid, if Ronnie had to get dumped out, he's in front of 6 horses.
Yeah.
I just had the inside, right? I bounced and I rolled to the inside away from everybody. He couldn't have had that option. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, actually. But teaching those horses to stay composed in those situations allows us to put other horses take them into what you might call deep water, right? Put them in uncomfortable positions and allow them to make a break sometimes. That's part of racing, right? It's always a chess match out there, especially with 2-year-old trotters. And Uncle Danny certainly allowed me to do that the other night. He raced great, and somebody said, well, the horse in the front won. I'm still going to win. Well, watch your race. The horse on the front was all chewed up. They said, well, he had a big hold of him. No, he was holding him together. Dan Noble's a smart guy and a good horseman. He knew what was happening.
People say these things? Or
All the time.
Are these voices in your head? That say
No.
these things?
You see my email.
Yeah.
Go back and look at them.
No, I don't.
And I only have a few voices in my head, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot. So Uncle Danny raced good. Supermind, that's been the best colt in Ohio on the front end. And I thought I had him swallowed up coming around the last turn. And if Supermind was as good as he was the first start, I would have. The problem was he's coming off the virus, right? He was good. He was like 90%. And he'll get to 100%. That colt was much, much better the other day. And we had raced him in the ear hood, too. Now, if he has the earplugs in, who knows? Maybe he would have been worse. I don't know. Judy's Money raced great. Again, those are 2 sire stake fillies that beat her. 2 of them. She raced great. The only horse that was flat was Emerald Tom, and we knew going in. I had to drive him like he was fine, because you don't know until you know that they're not. With the livers that are elevated, you don't know if they can overcome until they can or they can't. And it was pretty clear coming into the last turn that he couldn't. He fizzled out. We scoped him after. He scoped fine. So we'll draw his blood again. Or we've drawn his blood again. I'm sure I'm going to get a text any moment now saying his GGT was 55 or 50. It's coming down, but it's slow. And Tomboy Strong raced good also. That is as good a trotting filly as I've seen in a long time. I said ever in an earlier video, but that's a little unfair to the horses that came before her. She's only raced 2 or 3 times in Ohio, but I'll tell you what, she certainly seems like the real deal, for sure. That the Gadusa filly, she's a freak of nature. She can go. So that was Thursday. I left Thursday feeling pretty good about myself. I get up Friday, went to the barn, talked to all of our employees, and told them I want the barn cleaned up. We are going to have the barn looking like a Grand Circuit barn this fall. I want all the shed rows are going to be matted and painted. All the stalls are going to be filled in properly. We're going to have harness bags and harnesses outside all the shed rows. I know you lock them up. We have cameras everywhere.
My thing about that is the birds.
Yeah,
why
that's
I
right.
like
The
putting
birds
the
make
harnesses
that.
in the rooms, because there's no birds in there.
Yeah, that's true too. But still, we can talk about that. At the end of the day, I want everything done better, right? And it's not a detriment to our employees, but a lot of them, you have to understand too, a lot of them came from smaller barns before, where all this stuff wasn't expected and wasn't demanded of them. But as I said to Jason McGinnis, I said, I've always been envious of the way his barn looks. Everything is prim and proper and put together properly. That's how all 3 shed rows are going to look as we head into the fall. That's just the way it's going to be. Now, we watched yesterday. I had mixed expectations. Melisandre, small field. I knew she was going to get a check because there was only 5 in it, but I didn't know how it would work out. She needs to have like an 8 or 9 horse field and a decent front end runner and kind of sift through the middle. That's how she is going to take her lifetime mark. And she will at some point. Just the 5 and 6 horse fields, listen, I like it better than sitting in the barn, but I would like a bigger field. Captain Doolittle, the reason we're selling him, he just hasn't been gifted. God didn't gift him with enough talent to be a Buckeye or a Stallion Series horse or a very, very good overnight horse, maybe he'll grow into that because he does have a great work ethic and he does have a good attitude. But it just isn't enough at this point. So he's going to be leaving us. Perfect Thought. Again, I knew going in, you know, I'm telling myself, oh, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. But the snot in her nose that I saw, that yellowish snot, they might have scoped her and taken her blood, but it came from somewhere. Right? It had to mechanically cause an issue. And to take nothing away from that filly, she did look like a beast, the one that won the race last night. She looked extremely good last night. So congratulations to Anthony Beaton and his owners. The filly definitely looks good. Spitfire Overseas, you know, Tyler fessed up and said he hit a wheel with him last night. I see they give him an IX. I hope he didn't get fined for it, but you know, accidents happen. He's got 5 crappy lines now, and as I said to everybody, he is good right now. It was just a lot of the time it was just timing, right? He hit a wheel, he did this, he did that, he did this, but we could give the horse a little bit of a break now because he's going to need one at some point. Bring him back, and I think he's going to end up being just fine. Well, I know he'll just be fine. The horse is perfectly sound. There's nothing bothering him. But he will need a rest at some point. So why don't we use these lines to our advantage, give him a little break, bring him back, and have him start in the bottom class when we start him back up. Lifting Legend. Lifetime mark yesterday. Maiden victory in 2 minutes. Was it 2 minutes? 2 minutes and something? I think it was. I think he raced pretty good, and Yo Mister was second also. A very similar horse to him was the one that won it. But got everything his own way on the front end when we had to just sit there and follow. There was nothing Brett could do. He drove the horse great, the horse raced great, and he finished second. Now today, a little softer day. Go Strong Hanover. He's going to be heading to the sale also. He's racing at 3:25 this afternoon. And then we have Millie Girl and Foxy Seaside tonight. I'm very interested to see how Foxy's going to race tonight. I was very, very impressed with how she raced. With how she raced her last start. Again, Sunday slow again. We only have Grand Slam deal Sunday in Kentucky, and then Monday is slow again. We only have, well, I shouldn't say that. There are entries that aren't up and finalized yet, I believe. But as of right now, JK Victory Chicago Hall, JK Victory in Chicago Hall for Monday. Jody's driving Chicago Hall again, and James is driving JK Victory. Okay, good. And Delicious Stone is back in to go 7 to 5 from post 2 on Tuesday. There's other entries that have to go up. I'm trying to get to Berea. They told me they can't put me in until race 3. Sure you don't want to go drive that filly in Berea? Oh, you chicken.
Yeah, I am a chicken. I want to
go. I know. I was hoping to go drive Gorgeous Package in Berea and then make my way to Scioto to drive Steph's Hope. Problem is, the timing doesn't work. If they got us in race 1 in Berea, I could maybe make it work. But the gentleman had called me and said he can't, the race secretary said he couldn't get us into race 3. So it's unlikely I can drive both of those horses on Tuesday. I was really, really looking forward to it. What I am going to do, what I was planning on doing is going to Berea, then to Scioto, then just drive down to Kentucky, stay overnight, get up the next day, race the horses in Kentucky, make my way back to Northfield Park. I can't drive Gaslight Hall. Tyler is going to drive Gaslight Hall, but I'm just going to tell him, listen, you got the 7-hole. I really was hoping for another 2 or 3 hole draw and a great finish from him, but just don't hurt him. All right, he's got stakes coming up in Ontario. I think we proved our point. The horse won in 57 and looked very good 2 weeks ago. I just want to see him race good again this week coming. You don't have to blast him out of there. You don't have to race him hard. If you're 3rd or 4th over and attacking after that, then so be it. That's what you're going to have to do. But I would like to see him race good. I'm going to miss him, but I'm going to catch the latter 3 or 4 horses that we have in to go on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, I'm not going to be at the Meadows. And we'll see how that goes also. So that's going to be how things kind of go for the rest of the summer. I'll have between the Meadows, Northfield, Kentucky, Scioto, I'll have 4 main tracks I got to pick from, where I'm going to go, where I can go, where the math and the time will allow me to be. But for this week, the only day it affects me so far is Tuesday. It looks like I'm not going to be able to go to Berea, which is really frustrating me. I was really looking forward to that. I might think about that for the rest of the day, actually. Maybe I'll skip Scioto and go right from Berea to Kentucky.
I don't think Steph's Hope's difficult.
She's very simple to drive, you're right, and anybody can drive her. So I'm thinking more about that, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. As of right now, it's been a good week. Has it been a great week? No. There's some things that weren't great. But it's been a very, very good week for us at the stable. A lot of the horses we were looking to come back alive have come back alive. Who do you think raced the best this week? Or the biggest rebound, I guess. Or the best, whatever you want.
Biggest rebound?
I don't care. Who caught your eye this week? When I say who raced the best
Colts,
this week?
The Colts at...
Uncle Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fair.
And I thought Judy raced good. She looked like she could have not.
Judy's a killer. She just goes out and gets it done. Judy is the dark horse of our season. Very, very pleased with her. Really, really impressed with the way she's done her work. And very, very happy with Judy's money as a whole. Anybody else? What about Hanger 1? You're a Hanger hater anyway. You always didn't like him.
I hate him.
Yeah, he always put you through the ringer. You didn't like him. I love Hanger 1 because, as I told everybody, dude, just close that for a second.
It's hot.
I know. I can
He
turn the
makes his
camera.
life difficult, and he doesn't have to.
He does. Well, his dad. Thank you.
Wearing the lungs.
His dad does that. That's the green shoe coming out in him. But I'll tell you what, he's a very likable horse, and he's got a very kind eye on him. And I tell everybody that. He hears voices. He does stupid things sometimes.
Oh, that's why you like him.
I do, yeah. He's a likable horse. I like him a lot, actually. And I was really happy with the way he raced in Kentucky, and Daniel's horse also. So it turns out it looks like the horses are rebounding and are doing very, very well. Very happy to see that, because although I knew it would happen, I certainly had no timeline. There was nothing I could tell you, this is how long it'll take. Here, you get out if you want the door open. Out.
You're done anyways. You're landing your plane, right?
You can't charge your headphone because they're still connected to mine.
Oh, so I can't charge them because they're connected to your device?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to charge them.
Oh, goodness. Well, I can charge them. It's okay. So, that's it for the weekend. That's it for Saturday anyway. Just really, really happy. One that, last Saturday was a little worrisome in the sense that...
Something funny.
Yes, you can in a second. Last Saturday was a little worrisome, and I ended up with a black and blue butt over it. But you know what? No concerns with that regard. I'm almost 100% again. The horses are coming around. Everything just feels like it's starting to click now. It wasn't a great feeling over the last 2 weeks. I will agree with you in that regard, but that's racing sometimes, right? You can't enjoy the highs without going through the lows, and very, very happy with the way this week has turned out. What do you want to say, you turkey butt?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Get over here. You can't see you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.